Welcome to another edition of I Have Podcast Shit in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. And I look awfully uncomfortable sitting on this rock. And I don't look it, I feel it. I feel awfully uncomfortable on this rock. When the other day when I was recording with this out in the wind, you couldn't even hear the wind. And it was kind of cool in DaVinci, I used their voice isolation plugin. And I'll turn that on now. Now you hear the voice isolation working at 30%. And then I'll turn it off and you could hear what it doesn't do. So kind of cool stuff. Learning about audio a little bit, going back to the basics. I'm out here talking about the Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. I'm not sure what day this is that we've done it, but I didn't post the last few days. I didn't post on I didn't post yesterday. I didn't post on Monday, but I did read. I was kind of distracted. I'll say that much. I was distracted with external things, and I didn't keep my end of the bargain with you guys and post these videos because they're not that hard to make. Today, yesterday, I woke up with the feeling of I know what I want to do for the rest of this year. I had that feeling over me, so I was dealing with a lot of that. But, this morning, after taking my little baby to school, I decided I need to get back out here and make another one of these videos to keep continuing the energy that I'm putting inside myself. I'm rejuvenating. I'm gaining the energy that I need, and I can't lose sight of that. Not only for myself, really just for myself. Can't lose sight of that. Regaining the energy, the positivity, the thinking, the mindset, and understanding that, like I've said earlier, that I'm in this amazing cocoon stage where I'm relearning, I'm reprogramming. I understand myself. I know who I am, but I'm recharging my battery to then put that energy into the next project that I'm about to do. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to say the least. So I'll read, I'm going to read these next two ones, which are pretty short. We're going to read 6 pages, people, 6 pages. I'm on 253 called Tuning Out Undermining Voices. So I lost my highlighter, so I didn't get to highlight things today when I was on the shitter reading this. I was on the shitter reading this one. I was trying to tune out all the voices while I was shitting. And so yeah. Let me just go ahead and give you some insight on what he's meaning. I think people understand the meaning of undermining voices in our head that are talking mad shit on us, making sure that we feel like we're worthless. So he starts to talk about, he starts the chapter with saying we may take years, even decades, to create our first project. It typically develops in a vacuum, in an ordinary way, in a conversation mostly with ourselves. After we share it, outside influences can emerge. An audience appears, whether it consists of friends or a large group of strangers. Individuals and companies with business interests can sign on. And as we begin to work our next project, loud outer voices may speak at us from the sidelines, influencing us in different creative different creative directions, demanding the work now, without concern of the quality. Like, preaching to the choir. As the voices enter a artist's head, concern for deadlines, deals, sales, media attention, public image, staff, overhead, growing the audience, keeping the existing one, they can undermine our focus. The intention of our art can shift from self-expression to self-sustainment, from creative choices to business decisions. The key to navigating this phase of an artistic journey is to learning to tune it out, to prevent external pressures from entering our process and interfering with pure creative state. It helps to recall the clear mindset that produced the first work and allowed success to happen originally. Set aside not just a business concerns, but the needs of thoughts of these outside voices. but the needs and thoughts of these outside voices. Keep them out of your consciousness while in pursuit of your best work. When you're able to focus purely on creativity and work in a sacred place, everyone benefits, and all other priorities are served. So, man, I feel like I'm dealing with it right now. I feel like I've dealt with that issue over the last few years of people wanting something right now that has to be right now, and I've done my damnedest to push myself as a creator to just make stuff based on other people's deadlines and make stuff based on what they want right now and getting it done. And I don't know. I mean, like I think it's like it's a unique challenge that you experience, I think, as a creator. I think I agree with him that it would be amazing to have none of that stuff influence you, but you can't say that it doesn't influence you. I think that everybody experiences it at one point as an artist. I did for sure, and I still get that now. And so, but I finally got to a point in my life where I don't. It's like people try to contact us, try to do videos. If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. If I feel not in the right mindset, I'm learning to listen to that. If I feel that I'm creating from the wrong place, I'm listening to that. And so I've been already working on that process. And as to read the things that he's saying about it helps me reconnect and reaffirm those feelings that I have when I have this gut instinct to say no because I feel a certain way, and I don't feel like if I accept it, then I will create from a pure place. That's the stuff that is making me more happy with myself and my decision as a creator. I will say, going through the experience, and when you do challenge yourself to listen, like to hear those voices and to try to work under their circumstances, it does a couple things that I think are positive. I definitely think it pushes you to work faster, to work and test yourself, to push yourself, to overcome fears of, can I do this quick enough? To overcome fears of what's going to happen if I don't do it right. You have all these weird phobias and fears that come over you when you're listening to other people's rules. And so when you break your rules to follow theirs, you come out alive still. And so those are things that help you, remind you that you're really great at what you do. So although he's suggesting to stay away from that stuff and to not allow it to affect you, I do think that it pushes you in regards to trying to transform you into a new person and to grow you into a new state, because you're now working in a different world. You're just working in a different mindset. So I think I don't like it. I'll say I don't enjoy it. I don't like it. I hate it. But I do think it shapes you, and creates something different. You get to at least experience a different side of yourself that you didn't know before. So he goes on to say, at any stage in a career, the critic in your head may make its voice heard, repeating that you're not talented enough. Your idea isn't good enough. Art isn't a worthwhile investment of your time. The result won't be well received. You're a failure. I won't go on and on about what he says with this stuff, because like you get the idea where he's going. He starts to talk about your inner voice and your inner pressure that you put on yourself. He does kind of, one point he does kind of say about that, it's like he says, any pressure you feel around the work from inside and outside is a signal for self-examination. The artist's goal is to keep themselves pure and unattached, to avoid letting stress, responsibility, fear, and dependence on a particular outcome distract. And if it does, it's never too late to reset. The first step of clearing is acknowledgement. Notice yourself feeling the weight of self-criticism or the pressure to live up to expectations. And remember that commercial success is completely out of your control. All that matters is that you're making something you love to the best of your ability here and now. He kind of mentions like, and that's the end, like kind of in the end of the chapter. He talks about like trying to build that muscle of not paying attention at all, like not giving those doubts and those fears any energy. Like, don't give it energy enough to distract you. When you're sitting there thinking and doubting for, let's say, 5 minutes, it goes into 15 minutes, it goes into 30 minutes, it goes into an hour, 2 hours, a whole day. You've been doubting yourself, which then bleeds into a week, to a month, to a year, and it just builds and the snowballs into the fact that you're not moving. He's saying the more you can train yourself to not give the energy at all when it comes to you, whether you focus on it or you don't focus on it, it's trying to avoid the idea of even hearing the energy that it's bringing and to build that muscle. That's a little hard to me, like, to understand a bit. I'll quote him directly. Because it is a bit hard for me to understand. He goes, regularly engaging in the practice. He says, if any distractions come along, during that period, don't ignore them or focus on them. Don't give them any energy at all. Let them pass like clouds parting around a mountain. Regularly engaging in this practice builds a muscle of focused intention, which you could use in everything you do. It's a little bit weird to say to not give it energy at all, to not focus on it at all. What does he say? He says, don't ignore them or focus on them. Like, how the fuck does that even make sense? Ow, my butt cheeks are going to sleep. I gotta shift the cheek. Oh, gotta sit up a little bit. The cheek is sore and sleeping. Let me see if I could find something to sit on. Sheesh. All right, Rick, your book's being used to be sat on because my butt cheeks are falling asleep. I don't really get the idea of you don't ignore them and don't focus on them. Please, someone explain that to me. I'm not really sure what that means. I think when I was trying to reflect on it, I was like, how the fuck, when you start doubting yourself, can you not focus on it because you're doubting yourself? And earlier he was saying, become aware that that's happening so you can get rid of it. But then it says, don't ignore them either or focus on them. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, so don't ignore it. So recognize it, but don't focus on it. Maybe that's what he means. Maybe that's what he means. Don't ignore the feeling or don't focus on it. So see it, recognize it, and say, you know what, you stupid fucking self-doubting bitch. Why don't you go suck your toe down around the corner under this bridge, you know? So, yeah, I mean, okay, I get that a little bit more. At first, I was like, what the hell? I was trying to reflect on it. Look, you're discovering things with me. Maybe that's my interpretation. I don't know. What do you think? But I will say that is, self-doubt has always been one of those ugly little monsters in my life. Man, you could really, like, I make a lot of posts on my Instagram that speak about that idea, and not necessarily cryptic ways, but just in ways of like remembrance. Whenever I see I follow some healing pages, and whenever I see something that reminds me of, okay, I'm right, I'm on the right path, I repost it just to give me that energy again, to see it, to give me the energy. And man, I go through it every day. At some point every day I go through some form of self-doubt, but I've learned through the years to understand how confident I actually am and how good I am. So that self-doubt usually comes and creeps whenever you're actually creating. When you're in the middle of creating, you're like, man, this sucks. And then you're like, wait a minute, shut the fuck up. Just do it, And that is a circle that just keeps on going throughout your lifetime. I don't know how much I did self-doubting. I think the self-doubting in the early stages of my work was like, am I setting the right ISO? Am I like setting the right f-stop? And like, am I shooting this with the right lens? Like, those were my talents. versus just saying, oh, I like the way this looks. I'm going to keep filming it, you know? And so as I learned more rules and I learned more about the camera, those questions of, am I using the right thing or not, started to go away. And then now as I'm like in a veteran, like in a, I would say intermediate stage in my career, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I'm confident in what I'm doing. I think about theory. I have a fun process. I won't say I'm a veteran yet. I'm 10 plus years into doing it. So you could say professional maybe, but not a veteran. Veteran, I think I'll be a veteran when I'm like 30 years deep. When you're like 25 years into an industry, you're a vet. You're like super veteran. And so I'm sure you still learn at those stages, but you've put in your time. 2 decades is a long time. I say I'm a professional. I'm definitely a professional. I know that I'm confident in what I do. And even if I make the wrong choice, I think it'll still be my choice creatively to have made. And I don't give a shit what any other person says, any other fucking other professional in my field that would judge me or want to make a judgment on my creative choice. Fuck off. You know, it's like, whatever. I don't care. Go do your own thing. I'm on my own journey, learning my own things, making my own mistakes. And that's how I see it now. It's like, and I'm happy for others when they do great. Oh, that looks amazing. You know, when I see someone else's work, oh, I like it. And I think it looks cool. Like, even if it looks bad, I still don't want to discourage somebody in why it looks bad. I try to tell them, hey, think about maybe something that you should do here. Oh, you're doing this good here. Why don't you work more on that? And, you know, maybe try to focus on framing more, or try to focus on, you know, using a tripod better, or things like that, and not discouraging somebody when giving feedback, but like actually letting them know, you know, they're on the right track. And this is the process. You're going to fuck up a whole bunch of times, you know? So, okay, we're 17 minutes in. This next one was called Self-Awareness. Should we read it? I don't think so. I think we should keep it short today. 17 minutes. We're good. I don't want to bore you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you took away the idea of recognizing your inner voices. The last thing I'll say, and I'll say this for so bear with me for one more minute. He does talk about those external voices a little bit more, and the internal ones. Something that I didn't mention that I thought was important was that self-doubt came from some place in the parental world, or your mentor world. Somebody at some point in your early development put so many pressures on you to be a certain way. They put so many pressures on you to excel, and then their voice is what continues the self-doubt. For me, I love my father to death. He's done everything he possibly can for me, and he always came from the right mindset. I definitely feel like in the early stages of actually creating, or early stages of childhood, mine was sports, and he pushed me really hard to be really good at sports. And then he would make sure I knew when I was being lazy. You know, like if I didn't want to go out and run, or if I didn't show up to, you know, the gym, or if I didn't do something that I didn't feel like doing, you know, which I get it, that creates discipline. He was trying to enforce discipline into me. He was trying to force something into me. But I personally, deep inside, didn't care about that stuff, you know, and I didn't know how to articulate it. You know, I didn't know that it's okay to not play sports. I didn't know it was okay to not do something I didn't want to do, and try to focus my energy somewhere else. So his pushing probably had at one point, and I think has had an influx on me to keep pushing myself, to push people around me, because that's what happened to me. Same thing with my football coaches. So I do think that those people instilled that pushing, but they might have also instilled the idea of self-doubt. Am I good enough? No, I'm not good enough yet. I gotta keep going. I gotta keep pushing. And again, not saying that I resent them for it, not saying that I am upset with them for it. I think it's helped me become great. It's just a part of me that I think I have to understand happen. And I'm sure that's something similar with you. If you have a lot of self-doubts, reflecting on maybe where it came from can help you just connect with that side of you, realize that it's okay that you have self-doubts. It's okay that you do feel that way, but the thing we cannot let it do is stop us from moving forward and trying and achieving and failing and achieving and failing and achieving, and just know that this is the process. The self-doubt is a part of our journey in creating. We can control it by not giving it energy, just like Rick said. So with that in mind, have a great day. Have a wonderful, blessed Wednesday. Be successful in your day, and try to achieve one thing. You don't got to achieve a whole bunch of stuff today. Just try to achieve one thing towards your goal, whatever that is. Small steps are better than no steps. So thank you so much for watching. Until tomorrow, I will be talking about self-awareness tomorrow. So that's going to be an interesting one because I'm pretty self-aware. I'm pretty self-aware my ass cheeks was hurting. So Rick, your book Save My Butt Cheeks is the even flatness of the book help with my butt. All right, thank you. Oh, it's kind of bent too. Oh shit, I kind of almost snapped this bitch in half. All right, good.